Okay, here goes again. Right, so apparently the battery had completely run dry. I don't know how it can happen while it's just sitting. Maybe one of you can let me know if the battery virtually discharges to zero while it's just sitting somewhere doing nothing. Okay, hopefully we are back on track. So I am on Nice Road, Bangalore, leading to NH 75, the Mangalore highway. So I thought let's quickly capture some footage of the nice road before we take a turn towards NH 75. Of course, that's the most picturesque road, which I really love because of how big and wide it is, and all the farms and greenery and trees that we get to see. I have put this Decathlon water bottle holder and a water bottle which I bought from Decathlon. I get the feeling it's slightly protruding a bit outwards towards that side, and as soon as I reach home I need to figure out a better spot for it. Other than that, I'm also testing this setup to see whether the water remains cold or does it become too warm or hot because of the weather and also because of its proximity to the engine. So I'll probably stop somewhere on the highway, have a sip of water from it, and get a feel for what kind of temperature it manages to keep. Other than that, I have also done a small jugaad here, as you can see. This is a small hack. It's just a small strip of velcro, you know, sort of a velcro, basically velcro, which I've just cut, and I have tied it to the handlebar. And basically what I use it for is whenever I pay toll at the Nice toll gate, and I have to give that slip of paper at the exit of the toll, I don't have to fish around in my pockets and hold up a big queue of vehicles behind me and some of them impatiently honking and all of that. So when I approach the toll gate, I'm just going to pick it up, give it to him, and be on my way. So that's a small hack I've done. In fact, this velcro thing is one of the most amazing hacks that I've actually managed to find. You get this velcro strip on Amazon, any standard marketplace on Amazon, you manage to get this Velcro strip. I suggest strongly that one can buy this and keep it. It's very, very handy in all sorts of situations, including my moto vlog setup, my helmet moto vlog setup, where I have done a very unique sort of a moto vlog setup using Velcro to its full advantage. And at least this kind of a setup I have not seen anywhere else in any of the YouTube videos. I can take full credit for the innovation or the hack or the jugaad for that particular one. And it involves a solution where the lapel or the lavalier mic that you actually connect to the GoPro doesn't have to go inside your helmet and all that sort of a thing, which is the usual hack that you see on YouTube, which most people do for the helmet motovlog setup. So I will do a video on that as well, and anyone who's interested can take advantage of what thought process I have sort of come up with, and how I have executed it on the helmet. So that's on that. And I also use these Velcro strips here on the crash guard. So whenever I have a tag bag and some of the strap loose ends which keep flapping around in the wind, I just roll them up and I put a Velcro on top of it and just tie it to the crash guard here. So you can use it for all sorts of things. Velcro strips and zip ties are two of the most useful things that anybody must have in their house, or on their or in their you know, sort of backpacks or motorcycle bags or whatever, because it's very, very useful for all sorts of things. So that's something which I wanted to sort of call out. Other than that, what's been happening in terms of motorcycling related stuff? The back sprocket mod which I've done for this bike, the 47 teeth mod with the roll-on chain which I got from Race Customs, it's holding up amazingly well. Has improved quite a bit the low-end torque factor at the expense of a little bit of sacrifice of the top end and the power, but I'd give those up any day for an improvement in the low-end torque. So that's really working well, and I intend to keep it this way for as long as I can. I have also been thinking on and off about what my next bike is going to be. Of course, as some of you may have heard in my previous videos, the Versys 650 continues to be a hot favorite, purely because of how mature it is, and you know, a very comfortable bike to ride, at least as one ages more and more. I'm going to be coming up to 44 soon, and comfort of riding is starting to be really high up on my list, and I really want quite a comfortable bike to ride. Of course, this is very comfortable, no doubt, but the Japanese factor always continues to reign supreme in the thought process. I have not had any causes to complain about the KTM 390 Adventure. A wonderful bike, no doubt. As I have said before, one of the most happiest accidents of my life buying this bike, and it's doing its job really well. So yeah, back on the topic of Versys. So I have been really seriously thinking about getting a Versys sometime soon, and the other news which has sort of been in the motorcycling domain is the imminent launch of the Honda CB500X, and that's a motorcycle that I have actually had my eyes on for almost 5-6 years now. right from my Dubai days. I have been tracking that bike. I have been looking it up. What are its capabilities? What are its problems? What are its pluses and minuses and pros and cons and all that sort of a thing. Almost 5-6 years I have been tracking the bike, and finally it looks like it's going to see the light of the day. And the on-road price in Bangalore is supposed to be around 7 lakhs, which is quite a lot for that bike actually. It's completely CKD. Apparently it's going to be imported from Thailand, and okay, it's going to be imported from Thailand and sold in India. Of course, the CKD or the CBU units for any motorcycles, especially the imported ones, always tends to have a bit of a higher valuation compared to anything manufactured in India. So that factor is always going to be there, slightly because of I don't know whether it's real or perceived, but there is always a there is always a view that those tend to be better produced or have a better quality compared to anything which tends to get manufactured in India. Not really sure, this has to be fact checked, but that's what is the perception in the market. So CB500X again continues to be on my list, but there is only one yeah, that's a versus. There is only one thing. I've actually done a pros and cons and a comparison, sort of an Excel spreadsheet on the CB500X versus the Versys, and also the CB500X versus the 390 Adventure, which is its most closest competitor in the West. And in fact you can see quite a few videos which actually compared the 390 Adventure with the CB500X, and the opinion is actually divided between which is a better bike. Of course, CB500X has been in the market for much longer than the 390 Adventure has been, and it's a Honda. It's a more relaxed engine. It's about 47 bhp of power with a 500cc parallel twin engine. So an engine which is actually built to last, doesn't have a tremendous amount of power, but for our Indian motorcycle riding conditions, for even your city usage or the highway usage or the Sunday rides or touring or whatever it is, more than capable. Okay, more than capable. And in that Excel sheet, the CB500X actually won against the Versys. So that was quite a revelation. But interestingly, the 390 Adventure, when I compare everything, it won against the CB500X. So purely going by that Excel sheet, it appears as if I already have all that I need with this bike, which was quite a revelation actually. So that's on that. I finally don't know what I will end up getting, or if I'll end up upgrading at all this year, if you can even call the CB500X an upgrade. So it's almost double the price of this bike. Is it double the bike compared to this? Will always be a question. So yeah, that's on that. But what the CB500X has got going for it is the Honda reliability. Not that I've had any reliability concerns with this bike, and also its famed mileage of about 28 kilometers per liter, which is what Honda promises. But in terms of real world usage, based on my riding style, which happens to be quite a mellow sort of a riding style, it could be something better than 28 kilometers per liter. And if you apply that on the 17.5 liter fuel tank, we are talking about a range which almost touches 500 kilometers on a full tank. which is an awesome range to have. So again, my philosophy is I don't want a super bike which only sits in a corner waiting to be used on a Sunday or on a tour or on very special occasions. I want a bike which should be a bit special, just a little bit special than most of the normal bikes, but should be something which I can even use to commute to work and go around the city. So that's my requirement, and I want an all-rounder, basically a bike which I can take off-road, a bike not off-road, soft roads probably, dirt paths and so on, and something which can tow, something which can hold its own on the highway. So that's the kind of bike I'm looking for, and that's the short list: the CB500X and the Versys 650. I spoke to a couple of very good friends at a very reputed biking store in Bangalore, and both of them said that the Versys, because of its top heavy nature, is not a very fun bike to ride, and after a point of time starts to get a bit boring, and probably the CB500X would be a better thing to consider. Of course, in the Western markets, even the CB500X is often looked at as a bit of a boring bike after a while in terms of the overall feel factor. So that's going to be an interesting comparison in the times to come, as and when I get more closer to the purchase decision. The roads are quite busy this morning, not sure why. Okay,